Hello, and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandi Grace, author of 10 young adult novels so far, 8 of which I am rewriting this year. I keep saying it like that, like 8 I'm rewriting this year, even though 3 of those 8 are like, could be this year or next year, depending on how the first 5 go, but anyway, that's unrelated. Welcome to vlog 5/6 of the Rewriting Lucy's Legend experience. This vlog is definitely coming out sometime in February. I will most likely absolutely already be working on the next book by the time you see this. It's January 29th right now, so technically I only have 3 days left in January. However, I started my rewrites of Lucy Legend, there's no possessive here, on the 5th. So, if I roll into the first 4 or 5 days of February, I'm still counting that as like the month that I scheduled it, so you know, I have roughly a week to finish. Hopefully that will all be in this vlog. I'm on chapter 11 of 16. The chapter breaks, currently I'm keeping exactly the same as the original story, but once I've finished writing all of them, I may go back and change them because they've gotten long. They've gotten, you know, all the chapters are twice the size they used to be, so yeah, I might have to rework some of that. That's not the point. Anyway, I'm on chapter 11. Basically, it's just going to be Lucy affecting the world around her. Basically, what happened in the original version is Lucy showed up and then, like, influenced everyone for good, you know, we all became better humans, we all came to know Jesus, like everybody is great because Lucy's in the story, which is not how I wanted to go this time. To not complicate matters, I'm keeping the plot points exactly the same. However, Lucy's plot points need some shaking up sometimes, because in the original story, she had no flaws, she was perfect, but also she literally waltzed in and was like, and you know Jesus, and you know Jesus. And I was, it's unrealistic and it's ridiculous and I don't love it. But, yeah, this week is basically going to be me trying to make Lucy a believable person and not change plot points while I'm doing it. It's going to be a struggle, it's going to be painful. I'm also probably going to be hating on my descriptions of Lucy a lot, because every time she's in a scene, her laughter is musical and her eyes are sparkling and I want to punch her in the face. So, if I complain about Lucy a lot, it's not because I don't like the Lucy character, right? I love her. I really do. That's probably the problem. I loved her too much the first time around. But anyway, I do love her as a character, but I don't love the way that she's written. I just don't. So really what I'm doing is hating on my own ability to write. What I'm going to try and do with this vlog is A, finish the book, and B, not talk so much that it's over an hour long. The last 2 vlogs I've tried to do have been over an hour long. Vlog 3 I split into 2 separate vlogs because it was so long and I couldn't pare it down. And vlog 4 I was able to pare down to like 30-ish minutes because there was a lot of nonsense in that one, so I just cut it out. But still, I've had 2 vlogs in a row that have been over an hour, and I don't want it for this one. So, less talking, I say, as I rant at the camera. All of the children are awake, so the likelihood that I will be productive on the prickle that I'm about to pretend I'm getting on is slim. But we're gonna try anyway, because it's Monday, and why not? Important things that happened yesterday. I was supposed to get on a, like, brainstorming sort of session, prickle thing, with a hedgy sister of mine, who did not turn up. But it wasn't a big deal, it's fine, we're gonna plan it again. But because of that, I had sat down and prepped for Always in Shadow Book 2, because that is the character that I just don't know. So on the day that I tried to type everyone in the gang, I got Lucy and Marion. Honestly, Marion's, it's funny looking back, because Marion's I wasn't satisfied with when she came out as an 8, and then like was going with it and like, okay, maybe, but then by, you know, the 3rd week I was like, yeah, she's an 8, she's the 8est 8. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, I just got used to it, I guess. But Lucy's definitely a 1. She is causing me some issues because she also has some painful, like, 9-ness coming out in the latter half of the book, and her core values are still 1, like, forever in all the series, even in Return to Sherwood, Return to Grace. Like, Lucy's whole thing is to be good and proper and not do wrong things. Like, she's a 1. But she's, I don't know, she's got a lot of 9 as well. So I was doing some research, this is off topic, I was doing some research on like 9-wing 1s and 1-wing 9s, and then also subtypes of 9s and 1s, and trying to like figure out where Lucy belongs, and I really haven't settled on anything. So I don't know, she's a 1 and a 9 and we're just rolling with it. But anyway, the point is, I have Lucy and Marion, which is book 1, I have Guy for book 5, and then the 3 in the middle, Much, Dusty, and Alan, I wasn't sure. Alan, I was completely blank. Dusty, I was like, maybe she's a 1 or a 9, because she's similar-ish to Lucy, but like very different. Much more mature, but anyway, maybe a 1 or a 9. And then Much, who was possibly a type 4 or 2? I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. So, what I did last night is I worked through Much and like trying to figure out what he wants, what his issues are, all the things that I know about Much. I was just writing down all the things I know about Much, basically. So I could have that information for the brainstorming, like, character prickle thing, which then did not happen. So instead, I spent that hour messaging the Enneagram coach. Amy's amazing. I love her. Anyway, messaging the Enneagram coach who came and talked to the Edgy Sisterhood, which is my writing group, Glow Cup. Man, this video is going to be hard to edit because I keep pausing to go see what the disasters are. Anyway, yes, I talked to the Enneagram coach and worked through Alan, Dusty, and Much. Dusty is a 1 or a 9, which is basically where I was at, and Alan is an 8 or a 6. So anyway, basically the point is I talked to the Enneagram coach, which is great, and I started making progress on book 2, which is fine. And now we're going to try and finish book 1. We have 6 chapters, I believe, 5 or 6 chapters still to go. We have until Saturday, that's my deadline, the 5th of February, because I started on the 5th of January, that's what I'm doing. So we have until Saturday. So this week we are finishing book 1. I am almost at the point where I'm going to make an executive decision to move the dystopian trilogy to 2023. It's kind of basically the idea, but I've still been saying I'm rewriting 8 books in a year, but I'm probably only rewriting 5 because I think I'm going to need that 3 months of wiggle room, which at the beginning I assumed I would, but like I wanted to believe I didn't, so I kept saying 8 books, but like I'm almost at the point where I am ready to say 5 books. But I'm not quite there yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish Lucy's Legend, hopefully in the next 5 days, and then work on Always in Shadow, which is not going to be called that when it's republished, but anyway, I'm going to work on Always in Shadow. And then when March hits, I'm going to reevaluate and see where I'm at. How far have I gotten with Much's story? / did I even finish Lucy's Legend? Like, all the things. I'm going to reevaluate, see where I'm at. If I'm roughly on track, I'll still be wishy-washy about the dystopian trilogy, but if I'm way behind, I'll be like, no, it's gotta go. Moving to the next year. That's all the things. I'm gonna go pretend to be on a prickle, see how much I can get done, in spite of the chaos of the children. It's not fine. The baby's crawling this way, and it's like 10 seconds, she's gonna be crying. Wait for it. What's up? I am working on rewrites for my book still. I haven't done anything today, so like I'm hoping to be very productive this hour. That was very loud.
You parked the TARDIS there.
It's been there this whole time. Oh man, I hate everything that happens in the latter half of this book.
You mean Lucy?
Lucy walks in and like boom, everything is fine. The guy's immediately on the good side. Immediately. We don't have to deal with the trauma of murder. Like, he's immediately a good guy. Robin falls in love like that. All of it. I hate all of it.
Magical.
And every time she's on screen, her laughter is musical and her eyes are sparkling. And I want to punch her in
You
the face.
literally hate your main character.
I do. Mostly I hate the way that I described my main character and had her act. Yes, I hate my main character.
Mainly I just hate everything about her.
I'm focused. I'm very not focused. It's fine.
Oh, she has her little, her...
Yeah, she cheats. The rule is to have your camera on and microphone off. She doesn't.
But her picture is her thing, so it works.
It's fine.
Why do you have to have your camera on?
Because the song. Okay, now I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How would a 6-year-old say reluctant? Because that seems like a big word.
Don't want to.
Okay, that's fair. Yep. How do you explain without being theological? Because we're talking to a 6-year-old.
Uh-huh.
How do you explain the difference between Dusty and her compassion and goodness because she knows Jesus, and the rest of the gang being good people, but not on the same level? I mean, the level is Jesus. Like, that's the point. But, like, I don't want to... I started to write a sentence. She was better and was like, that's not it. Nope.
Okay. Well, like, you say, like, okay, this is going to take a while. So, like, it comes from, like, the motivation. Like, Dusty's motivation to be compassionate towards people is because she knows Jesus. She knows that's how Jesus would treat people.
Right.
She knows that, like, God sees people and loves them and sees them in his image.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other members of the gang want to help people out of a different motivation. They also care for people. They don't think that people should be hurt. But they don't understand where that moral rule comes from. Because they don't see that it comes from Jesus. And so
Yeah.
their compassion and grace and love for people is limited because they don't see people through God's eyes. They're seeing it through like a logical view. And like, this is unjust, or this is wrong, but like without the understanding of why, and without the self-sacrificial love that comes.
It's also a bit arbitrary. Like, they choose who gets to be have compassion.
Yes, they choose who they want to be moved by.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you. Now I gotta boil it down into a conversation with a 6-year-old.
Can you boil it down into a conversation with a 6-year-old after telling me what swerves? Tell me things that swerve.
What swerves? Cars? I feel like I haven't actually talked to the camera much this vlog. I could be wrong, but it certainly feels that way, so I'm gonna catch you up on all the things. I've been hopping on Prickles with my writing group and working through chapter by chapter. I'm up to chapter 14 now of 16 chapters in the original, so almost done. A couple more days we will be there, which is great because today is Thursday and I said I needed to be done by Saturday. We're gonna probably finish on Saturday, I imagine, but here we are. Yesterday was a snow day, so I got on 3 Prickles because I wasn't watching with children. Nanny duties were not a thing, so that was actually kind of nice. I was able to catch up a bit. I did 2 chapters yesterday, so yeah, it was a good day. Sorry, yawning. Let's see, interesting things that are going on. Still trying to figure out the balance of Lucy's 9 and 1-ness. I feel like her core values are a 1, but most of her behavior is a 9. So I don't know if that necessarily means I should adjust her behavior to be more like a 1, or adjust her internal values to be a 9, or just let her be this odd mixture of both. Because wings are a thing, but like, she seems to be firmly both, and I don't know what to make of that. I don't know. We're just rolling with it for now. I'm treating this new document as a first draft because most of the words are brand new. So I'm treating it like a first draft in terms of like, there are plenty of things I know need fixing. Lucy's behavior, for one, also adding description to scenes. I don't know, fleshing out Lucy's entire arc because I added scenes in the beginning that she wasn't a part of at all. There's things that I feel need help. There's also the fact that there are no stakes in this story except when big things happen. Yeah, Robin and his crew have no trouble, like, waylaying the caravans. They go through Sherwood Forest, like, they never run into trouble, right? And then when it comes to, like, the executions and things that they're trying to stop and save, like, they save everybody. Except on very specific occasions. So like when my main character dies, like that's the only time that there's stakes, you know? Like it's just random. Like the sheriff is not a threat, and then just all of a sudden he successfully does something and you're like, but how? Why? I don't understand. Also, in the original story, he knows about... Okay, so he suspects Marion's involvement and seems mostly amused by it. He knows about Lucy because he specifically, and it's, yes, I'm sorry, let me finish the sentence here. He specifically, tells her on certain occasions not to go talk to the outlaws. And it's an actual plot point that Lucy does, she gives those promises, like, I won't tell Robin or something, and then she'll go to the gang and be like, okay, Robin, you gotta get out of here, I have to tell everyone else and not you. Like, it's a whole thing. It leads to several major plot points because she gets Robin to go talk to the man that he hates the most in one specific instance because she said she wouldn't tell the rest. Anyway, it's a whole thing, right? But it doesn't make any sense. Like, if the sheriff knew, like, why wouldn't he just kill her? And there is one instance where he tries to kill her, and then after that, he never mentions it again. Like, this bad guy makes no sense whatsoever. And it's a struggle for me not to change the plot points, because I'm not changing the plot points, right? I'm not changing it, because if I start rewriting the plot points, then I will have to start rewriting Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, and I don't want to do that. I just want to move these books over to Mandi Grace in a polished fashion that I can be proud of, right? But the story itself, in some respects, just doesn't make sense. And it is a struggle for me to just polish scenes and not completely alter everything that is happening. Because the sheriff makes no sense. He's not a threat. He just lets them get away with stuff, and he knows that Lucy's involved, and it's annoying, and I wish that I had written it differently. So there you go. That's all the things. But I do see, okay, so partially it's because of Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. I don't want to have to rewrite them, so I'm not getting into changing plot points because then I will have to figure out what's consistent and not, and it will be a mess, right? So I don't want to do that. But also, in some respects, I want to be, I guess, honoring to the original idea. Like, 17-year-old me started this entire publishing journey. I would not be Mandi Grace talking to a YouTube channel without 17-year-old me being like, yeah, sure, I'm going to self-publish. Let's do this. So I don't want to discount the original journey that I went on, right? And I don't want to completely erase that story. I just have very little respect for 17-year-old me because their story is awful. But anyway, I complain a lot about it, but I actually do really love this story, and I love these characters, which is why I spent almost a decade writing 2 series about them. So yes, I do. I love this story. I love this whole saga. I think I didn't realize how bad it was. In spite the fact that I knew it was bad and I wanted to rewrite them, I don't think I knew how bad until I started writing. And it's been an adventure. But anyway, yeah, we've got 3 more chapters, 14, 15, and 16 to get through, and then I will read through rather quickly to make some quick adjustments, and then send all the chapters that I haven't already sent to my CP. And then I'll step away from Lucy's Legend, and however many months or whatever it takes for my CP to go through Lucy's Legend, I will be shifting focus to Always in Shadow. In terms of Always in Shadow, this is interesting to me. I couldn't type Much, who is the main character of Always in Shadow, and I felt like I needed to so that I could have a thorough character profile going into his rewrites, because his story is one of the worst, I had thought, although Lucy's Legend has been a mess. But anyway, yes, I couldn't type him. I couldn't figure it out. So I talked to the Enneagram coach that I keep going back to, who talked to my writing group, and a couple times came and spoke to us about using the Enneagram to create compelling characters, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I approached her about Much. What I did for Alan and Dusty was I sent her their fears, their motivation, their longings, and she was like, this is what I'm feeling, and then we chatted, right? For Much, I couldn't boil down his fears and motivations and whatever. Like, I couldn't do it. So I just gave her a grand overview of who Much is as a person. And she replied with, take a look at type 9. That's me. I'm type 9. And I love, if Much is a 9, we're gonna see. He probably is. As soon as she said it, I was like, oh, okay, here we are. Anyway, but, yeah, if Much is a type 9, it's kind of hilarious that I, the 9, could not see that in Much. But it's also a little bit entertaining on another level, because so far all of the characters that we have typed have been 8s, 9s, or 1s. Which is me. And literally just write me. I am hoping that the characters are different and engaging in their own ways, and it's not just a blueprint of myself. But that aside, yeah, they're just all 8s, 9s, and 1s, except for Robin, who's a 7, but he doesn't really count because he's not a main character, and it doesn't really matter. Like, we don't dive into the 7 psyche and figure out why Robin does what Robin does, you know. Like, we don't care. He's just a character. That's basically everything, I think. Every time I start talking about the Enneagram, I can't shut up about it, so I don't know how much of that I'm leaving in the video, but, yeah. We have 3 chapters to write, which I hope to write in the next 3 days, and then we will let Lucy's Legend sit for a bit while I work on Always in Shadow, and we'll see what happens. I'm curious what the ending number, word count-wise, will be, because we're already in the 70s. I still have 3 chapters to write. Will this be bigger than Return to Grace, which is my biggest book? I'm assuming yes, absolutely, but don't know for sure, so I'm curious. I am in the last 3 chapters of the book I'm rewriting, so I don't know how long that's going to take me. It might be a couple more days, but I'm close to the end, which I'm very excited about. I'm just going to keep working on that, I guess. Guys, Lucy has a halo, an actual halo. The line that I just read. So they walked along the sparkling, bubbling stream, the sunlight glistening off of Lucy's hair like a halo. What does that even mean? Also, it's the middle of winter. It's literally December. Why is the stream bubbling and sparkling? I don't understand. But she has a halo, you guys. Not sparkling eyes, the water sparkling this time, but she has a halo. Ah! I can't with Lucy. Ugh. Listen, I still adore her, so the Lucy in the new version I absolutely love. But the way that Lucy is described in the old one is making me sick inside. And she has an actual halo now. So, I feel I should address the romance in this book because I've made it to the proposal scene from Guy that I knew going into it was awkward. I felt awkward. He was awkward. Lucy was awkward. Everybody's awkward, right? Anyway, I made it to that scene just now, and was it awkward? Yes, but also, was it supposed to be there? Absolutely yes. Like, it was perfect. It was, okay. Guys, I still remember when I first wrote this book and the rest of the series, Guy was my favorite love interest, and if it was me, I mean obviously it was, but like if it was me, I would have chosen Guy. But I did not because A, he wasn't the hero, he was in fact the villain for much of the series, and so it just felt wrong somehow for him to be the actual love interest. And then B, how can you have a Robin Hood story where Robin Hood doesn't get the girl? That was my reasoning, which is a silly reasoning, but that was my reasoning, so I didn't choose Guy. However, in this, like, distanced view that I now have of the series, coming back to it almost 10 years later, it's so easy to see that I would have chosen Guy. And then it also just reads like he's supposed to be the love interest because his relationship develops. The reader gets to watch it. There are sweet moments, there are romantic moments, there are like big argumentative fight scenes, like the entire highs and lows of the friendship thing. Like, it's all there and the reader gets to enjoy it and watch him fall in love, and then you reach this proposal scene. Which is understandably stilted and awkward on his side of things because the last time he proposed to someone, she said no. So he's very hesitant and like, So like, it all makes sense, right? And then there's Robin, who's supposed to be the actual love interest, but he is an afterthought. There are no scenes with Robin. You're told in some of those, you know, fancy narrative summary that is just like literally everywhere in the book. Yeah, you are told that Robin's supposed to be the love interest, but we don't get to see it. We don't get to see him having romantic moments or sweet moments or like big fight scenes or like there's no relationship with Robin, period. So as a reader, if I was coming into this story, I would not understand why Guy was refused and why we chose Robin over him. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. So what I'm trying to do right now, while not diminishing Guy, because he's still my favorite character, and I love his story. I love the way it develops, so I'm not changing it. But I am going to be adding more Robin. More Robin scenes, more romance, so that Robin being the love interest isn't like, but why? I also feel I need to add some more good Robin scenes because my CP is not a fan. My critique partner is like, Robin who? So I was already thinking I needed a better love scene. My nephew is coming for it. He's coming for us, not it. Maybe it. He's coming for the camera, perhaps? Anyway, yes, I was already thinking I needed some Robin scenes. But now that I have watched Love Story, Guy's love story just be perfectly presented. Hi! And none of the rest were, yeah. And the other two love scenes that are not like the main love scenes, but like background subplots, they happen completely off screen. Characters are just like, oh yeah, they're getting married. Oh, are they? Why? What's happening? So, I'm definitely developing all of the love stories more, and then particularly making Robin into an actual love interest. What are you doing? Hi. Anyway, I gotta go. Well, it is the 5th now, because I do nothing on Fridays, so we did nothing yesterday. I have 2 chapters to get through. We'll see what I can get done. There aren't any scheduled prickles now, with my writing group, so I sent a desperate plea to them to see if any of them will get on and keep me accountable so I can get some writing done. Otherwise, we will do it the old-fashioned way and go over to AuthorTube and look for live streams. We did it, folks. Yesterday, on the day of the deadline that I had set for myself, wrote 10,000 words and finished the draft. That's the end of Lucy's Legend. Now we have to start the next book. 1 down, 7 to go, people. No, there is actually a lot that I already know I need to go back and fix, but I'm going to read through it briefly, edit a few things, send it to my CP, and then not look at it while I work on Always in Shadow. So that when I come back to Lucy's Legend, hopefully I'll have some fresh eyes and can edit it again and see all the things that I know need fixing. Ended around, what was it, 91,000 words? Oh, I pulled up Return to Grace because I thought Return to Grace was in the 90s, and I wanted to see if the new Lucy's Legend was close to Return to Grace, except of all of the various documents of Return to Grace that I could find, the biggest one and most recent one was only 82,000. And I've been saying it's been 92, 94, 96,000. So either I can't find the final document that I formatted and published, or I just, in my head, added 10,000 words to it and it's always been 82 this whole time. I don't know. If that's the case, Lucy's Legend is currently the biggest book that I have ever written. I don't know what to make of that. And it's going to get bigger because there's a lot of scenes that still need adjusting and more description added and things. And at some point I stopped fixing the present day Mary Lou and her great-grandmother conversations, and they just I was just pulling over the dialogue back and forth and like fixing it a little bit and making it less clunky and then moving on. I wasn't trying to give those scenes a point anymore or add description or literally anything. I was just like, I just get back to the story. We'll fix these next time. So yeah, that's one of the major things I have to fix when I come back to edit. That's the end.